Welcome to Spotlight Murder by Skoob. I'm your host, Kieran Caldwell, and today we're diving into one of the most shocking and disturbing cases to rock the music industry in 2025. It's a story that intertwines teenage fame, social media stardom, and a horrific tragedy that left a 15-year-old girl dead and a rising pop star at the center of a murder investigation. This is the story of D4VD and Celeste Rivas Hernandez. What started as whispers on social media became a nationwide scandal that would forever change how we think about fame, vulnerability, and the dark side of celebrity culture. But before we dive into the tragedy, we need to understand who D4VD really is, because his rise to fame is as unconventional as the allegations that would eventually surround him. David Anthony Burke, better known by his stage name D4VD, wasn't supposed to be a superstar. Born on March 28, 2005 in New York City, he spent most of his childhood in Houston, Texas. But his path to musical stardom began in the most unlikely place, his sister's closet, hiding from his family while recording songs on his phone. Picture this: a teenager, probably around 16, crammed into a dark closet, speaking and singing into a free mobile app, creating the moody, intimate tracks that would eventually earn him millions of streams. Why the secrecy? Well, David didn't start out wanting to be a musician. He was actually creating montage videos of his Fortnite gameplay. You know, those epic gaming highlight reels that were huge on YouTube and TikTok. But here's where it gets interesting. To avoid copyright strikes, David started making his own background music for these gaming videos. What began as a practical solution to a technical problem accidentally birthed one of the most distinctive sounds in modern pop music. His DIY approach shaped everything about his artistic identity. That lo-fi, bedroom-recorded aesthetic wasn't a stylistic choice. It was born out of necessity. The intimate, slightly compressed sound quality, the emotional vulnerability in his voice, the melancholic undertones. All of this came from a kid hiding in a closet, afraid his family would hear him sing. David began releasing music publicly in late 2021, initially on SoundCloud, the same platform that launched artists like Post Malone and Lil Peep. But 2022 would be his breakthrough year. Two singles changed everything: Romantic Homicide and Here With Me. Now let's pause here, because Romantic Homicide, released on September 7th, 2022, will become significant later in our story. The song exploded on TikTok, earning massive streaming numbers and catching the attention of major labels. The lyrics describe killing a lover. "In the back of my mind, I killed you and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you." Dark? Absolutely. But at the time, it seemed like typical teenage angst set to a catchy melody. The success led to him signing with Darkroom and Interscope Records in September 2022. By 2023, David had released 2 EPs and was opening for established R&B star SZA on her SOS tour. From hiding in his sister's closet to opening for one of the biggest names in contemporary R&B, it was a meteoric rise that seemed almost too good to be true. While David's star was rising, about 90 miles southeast of Los Angeles, in Lake Elsinore, California, a 13-year-old girl named Celeste Rivas Hernandez was struggling with problems that her family couldn't seem to solve. Celeste was described by those who knew her as sensitive, creative, and carrying invisible burdens, emotional pain, confusion, and a desperate longing to escape her circumstances. Teachers and neighbors recalled a girl who sometimes felt overwhelmed and acted out by running away from home. In 2024, things began to change dramatically. Celeste started skipping classes at Lakeland Village Middle School. Her attention shifted from schooling to what her mother described as a troubling romantic relationship with someone named David. Remember, she was just 13 years old. This is where the story takes its first dark turn. Celeste began running away from home regularly. Usually, she would disappear for a day or two before returning. But on April 5th, 2024, when she ran away again, her family officially reported her missing. This time, she didn't come back. But here's what makes this case so disturbing. This wasn't the first time authorities had been called to the Rivas household. Dispatch logs reveal that law enforcement responded to her family home at least 11 times between February 2024 and April 2025. Most of those calls were logged as minor crime investigations, with at least one listed as suspicious circumstances. On March 19th, 2024, alone, records show 3 police visits, 2 to her home and 1 to a nearby liquor store. Surveillance footage from that day appears to show Celeste walking near the store, then heading toward a dark vehicle. One former teacher revealed something chilling. Celeste had once run away toward Hollywood, but was later found and brought back to her school by police. Hollywood. Keep that detail in mind. After her disappearance in April, her family tried desperately to find her. They posted flyers around their community, put up missing person posters on telephone poles, and sought help from anyone who would listen. Neighbors remember seeing her face on those posters in local shops, a reminder of a girl who had simply vanished. For a brief time, there was hope. Celeste did return home occasionally, blending back into her daily routine, walking to school, stopping by corner stores, carrying her backpack like any other teenager. But by May 2024, Celeste left home yet again, and this time she never came back. There were no confirmed sightings of her returning to Lake Elsinore after that. The missing person posters remained on display throughout the summer and fall of 2024, but Celeste had essentially vanished into thin air. Looking back, friends, classmates, and former teachers now describe those repeated runaways as silent cries for help, attempts to flee an environment she couldn't navigate. Despite multiple police visits and repeated missing person reports, those signs of distress went largely unheeded. Each return home seemed like a chance for relief, hope that she was safe, until that final time she disappeared. And when her body was later found, the tragedy would become even more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Saturday, September 6th, 2025. A call came in to a tow company about a vehicle that had been sitting abandoned near Bird Street in the Hollywood Hills, a neighborhood famous for its breathtaking views, modern mansions, and ultra-exclusive reputation. This wasn't the kind of place where you'd expect to see a car left for dead on the side of the road. But there it was, a sleek black Tesla sedan, hauled away to Hollywood Tow, a storage yard off Mansfield Avenue and Romaine Street. For 2 days, the Tesla sat untouched on the rooftop lot. But soon, workers began to notice something deeply unsettling. A smell, foul, heavy, unmistakable, started drifting through the air. It wasn't garbage. It wasn't something spoiled. As one employee would later describe it, the stench could only be compared to death itself. Alarmed, the tow yard staff called the LAPD. Officers arrived just after noon on Monday, and what they discovered inside the Tesla's front trunk was every bit as horrifying as the smell had suggested. Stuffed inside a bag was a heavily decomposed body, described as a head and torso. The medical examiner would later describe the victim as a petite figure, around 5'2", weighing about 71 pounds, with dark, wavy hair. The remains were clothed in a tube top and black leggings, with a single yellow metal stud earring and a chain bracelet still intact. One finger bore a small, distinctive tattoo. The timeline of the car's movement provides crucial context. According to parking enforcement records, the Tesla was first marked by an officer on August 27th, 2025, presumably because it had been parked for several days. On September 3rd, the car was cited for violating the 72-hour parking limit. 2 days later, it was towed to the Hollywood impound yard. Residents in the Hollywood Hills neighborhood later told police that the car had likely been parked on the street for over a month prior to being towed. One neighbor, out walking her dog, had noticed a foul odor coming from the vehicle. Her dog wouldn't stop sniffing around the car, but she assumed the smell was just a dead animal hidden in the nearby brush. On September 8th, 2025, forensic investigators compared dental records and confirmed what everyone feared. The body belonged to Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the teenager who had been reported missing from Lake Elsinore. She had last been seen in April 2024, when she was just 13 years old. But here's where this story takes an absolutely shocking turn. The Tesla was registered to David Anthony Burke, D4VD, the rising pop star who, at the time Celeste's body was discovered, was on tour promoting his brand new album, Withered. April 2025 should have been David's moment of triumph. His debut studio album, Withered, arrived featuring 15 tracks that blended alt R&B, indie pop, and bedroom pop textures. The album dealt with heavy themes: heartbreak, identity, loss, and inner conflict. Critics praised its depth and versatility. David himself described the album as a kind of resurrection, a raw, honest expression of his growth and vulnerability. Songs like You and I and Sick of Waiting showcased his evolution from a kid recording in his sister's closet to a legitimate artistic voice in contemporary music. But lurking in his catalog was something far more sinister. In December 2023, just months before Celeste disappeared, an unreleased track of his leaked online. The title, Celeste Demo, Unfinished. The lyrics are haunting. Oh, Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. I smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed. Oh, Celeste, I'm afraid you'll only love me when undressed, but you look so damn gorgeous in that dress. Missing you so much makes me depressed, but I digress. For many, the fact that this song existed, about a girl with the same uncommon name who later turned up dead in his trunk, felt like more than coincidence. But remember Romantic Homicide, his 2022 breakout hit? It was released on September 7th, Celeste's birthday. The song's lyrics describe killing a lover, paired with blood-splattered imagery. Fans have pointed out that his co-star in the music video bears a striking resemblance to Celeste. Another video, One More Dance, features a young Hispanic woman with curly hair, as well as scenes of a blindfolded bloody character called Itami dragging David into the back of a car in a remote woodland, followed by a police chase. Itami, which means pain in Japanese, serves as David's artistic alter ego, a metaphorical representation of pain and suffering in love. For many observers, the connections between his artistic imagery and the events surrounding Celeste felt too pointed to be purely coincidental. When Celeste's body was discovered in September 2025, the consequences for David were swift and severe. He canceled the remaining U.S. dates of his tour. A planned deluxe version of Withered was scrapped, and suddenly, instead of discussing his artistic growth, the world was asking whether this young musician was capable of murder. As news of the discovery spread, internet sleuths began digging, and what they found painted an increasingly disturbing picture of coincidences that seemed impossible to ignore. First, there was the tattoo. When investigators described Celeste's remains, one detail stood out: a tattoo on her index finger. David has the exact same tattoo in the exact same spot. While it's true that many people sport similar designs, this detail suggested a deeper connection between the two. Then came the alleged evidence of their relationship. Screenshots surfaced online that allegedly showed Discord exchanges between David and Celeste. In one, Celeste tells David that her parents won't allow her to go to one of his shows. His response: "I'll fix that. Yeah, I'll fix that." David was also reportedly spotted near Celeste's neighborhood before she vanished. A photograph appears to show him in a parking lot, just a 6-minute walk from her home. Other images shared online seem to show David with a girl who resembles Celeste, sometimes in photos, sometimes in live streams. When Celeste went missing, she was reportedly wearing Hello Kitty slippers. David, meanwhile, has posted multiple photos of himself wearing Hello Kitty merchandise. People close to Celeste began coming forward. unofficially confirming that she was indeed dating David. One of these sources was Celeste's own brother, Matthew. He stated that the family was aware of the alleged relationship, and on the day she disappeared, Celeste was reportedly on her way to a movie with David. Matthew also said that David would frequently pick her up in the same Tesla, where her remains were later found. Another source close to Celeste's mother corroborated the relationship and shared chilling details. For a period, Celeste came back home by herself and stayed with her mom, but the police weren't involved. Why didn't they ask her, "Where were you? Are you okay?" This source revealed that at one point, someone allegedly called Celeste's mother and told her to stop looking for her daughter, saying she was fine and instructing the family to take down social media posts about Celeste being missing. I don't know who the caller was or whether they were connected to David, but I did take down a post asking for help because I was scared. The situation felt completely out of hand. A former science teacher confirmed that Celeste had made her way to Hollywood after connecting with David on social media. Police had brought her back home once before, but she ran away again to be with him. Evidence suggests that references to David dating a girl named Celeste go back to at least 2022. And here's the most disturbing part. In 2022, Celeste was 11 and 12 years old. What began as a death investigation has dramatically escalated. By late November 2025, court filings described the matter as an investigation into murder. A grand jury began hearing evidence, and investigators now view David as a suspect, though no formal arrest has been made. On September 18, 2025, police executed a search warrant at the Hollywood Hills home David had been renting for $20,000 a month. According to producer Charles Latipedier, speaking to journalist Ashley Banfield, officers conducted what he described as a thorough scouring of the house. They searched specifically for blood evidence, even checking drains for any trace of blood or tissue. Investigators removed computers, electronics, hair samples, and other items as potential evidence. But perhaps most disturbing, they also found what some described as farm tools that seemed out of place for a typical Hollywood Hills home. Tools that might be used to dispose of a body. The condition of Celeste's body has made the investigation particularly challenging. The remains were badly decomposed and partially dismembered, making traditional forensic conclusions difficult. Some experts believe the decomposition could be so advanced that the cause of death may never be known, forcing prosecutors to rely mainly on circumstantial evidence. Documents from the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office show Celeste's death certificate still lists the cause of death as deferred. The certificate confirms she was not pregnant in the previous year, but crucially, the exact cause and manner of death remain undetermined pending toxicology and forensic tests. But here's what's particularly puzzling. At the time Celeste's body was discovered, David was on tour promoting his album. By all accounts, he seemed unaware that his car had even been towed. He cooperated with investigators, even canceling one of his shows to make himself available for questioning. This raises disturbing questions. How could David not have known what was happening with his Tesla? These vehicles are equipped with advanced technology that alerts owners to movement, location, and towing. If it had been driven, abandoned, and eventually impounded, wouldn't he have known? Some investigators now believe that more than one person may have been involved in disposing of Celeste's body, a possibility that makes this case far more complex than initially thought. The condition of the remains suggests more than just a single person acting alone. The physical effort and logistics required to handle, transport, and hide a body in such a state often involves teamwork. According to law enforcement officials, the dismantling and disposal likely required multiple participants. Detectives have reportedly been in contact with multiple people believed to have had some role, directly or indirectly, in what happened. Investigators are exploring whether others helped move the body into the trunk, helped move or abandon the Tesla, or assisted in concealing evidence afterward. Adding intrigue to this theory, David reportedly transferred ownership of 2 of his Texas properties to his mother just days after Celeste's body was discovered. This move has sparked speculation about his intent and state of mind. The Tesla's movement also suggests possible accomplices. Neighbors told police they had seen the car parked in David's driveway before, but over the weeks leading up to its discovery, the car began appearing in different spots around the neighborhood. This pattern suggests someone was deliberately moving the vehicle to avoid detection. Whether David acted alone or with others, whether he had direct responsibility or only an indirect connection through the vehicle, remains unresolved. The potential for multiple persons being involved changes everything: the legal stakes, the moral responsibility, and the complexity of prosecution. Let's piece together what we know about the timeline, because the dates tell their own horrifying story. Evidence suggests David's alleged relationship with Celeste may have begun as early as 2022, when she was just 11 or 12 years old. His breakout hit Romantic Homicide was released on her birthday, September 7th, 2022. By 2024, Celeste was regularly running away from home to be with David. Her family knew about the relationship, and David would frequently pick her up in the same Tesla where her remains were later found. April 5th, 2024. Celeste was officially reported missing after running away again. May 2024. Celeste left home for the final time and never returned. December 2023 to April 2024. The period when the Celeste demo was created and when she finally disappeared. August 27th, 2025. The Tesla was first marked by parking enforcement. September 3rd, 2025. The car was cited for violating parking limits. September 6th, 2025. The Tesla was towed. September 8th, 2025. Celeste's body was discovered. The medical examiner believes Celeste had been dead in the car for several weeks before her body was discovered, based on the state of decomposition. This means she was found just 1 day after her 15th birthday, having spent her final birthday decomposing in the trunk of her alleged boyfriend's car. This episode of Shadows and Echoes follows the unresolved death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez and the ongoing LAPD investigation into David Anthony Burke. No charges have been filed. A court has sealed the coroner's records, leaving crucial details hidden and many questions unanswered. Beyond the legal mystery lies something darker: how a 13-year-old became entangled with an adult celebrity, cries for help that went unheard, and a community left searching for answers. Hear the full timeline, witness testimony, and audio we couldn't air here. Download Skoob App now to get access to the full story. I'm your host. We'll keep following this case until the truth comes out. If you or someone you know is facing abuse, please reach out to local authorities or support services. You are not alone. Please stay safe.